The Portuguese Marine Corps is the special operations force of the Portuguese Navy. The Corps is specialized in amphibious warfare, coastal reconnaissance, unconventional warfare, guerrilla warfare, raids, maritime interdiction and boarding operations. It is an elite light infantry force, operating as a rapid reaction force. History. The Portuguese Marines have their direct origin in the oldest permanent military unit of Portugal, the Regiment of the Navy of the Crown of Portugal, created in 1618. However, since 1585, specialized troops existed to provide artillery and riflemen in the Portuguese warships. The Regiment of the Navy was soon considered an elite unit. As the King of Portugal did not have a royal guard, this regiment was also used in the role of bodyguard of the monarchs. In 18th century, a 2nd Regiment of Naval Infantry was created. In 1791, a regiment of naval artillery was added to the force. In 1797, in the reign of Queen Maria I, all the regiments of the Navy were merged and integrated into the new Royal Brigade of the Navy, which included 3 divisions: fusiliers, artillerymen and artificers. In 1807, the brigade was reorganized, going to be made of 3 battalions, all of them of artillerymen. In 1808, the army of Napoleon invaded and occupied Portugal, in order not to be captured and, so, to maintain secure the Portuguese sovereignty. The royal family and most of the court relocated to the Portuguese colony of Brazil, on board of the Portuguese fleet and accompanied by the majority of the Royal Brigade of the Navy. This contingent of the brigade continued to remain in Brazil, even after its independence in 1822, giving origin to what is now the Brazilian Marine Corps. In 1809, a force of the brigade in Brazil participated in the Portuguese conquest of French Guiana, with most of the original force of the brigade remaining in Brazil. In 1822 it started to be reconstituted in Portugal. In 1823, it was organized in 2 battalions. During the Portuguese Civil War, the Royal Brigade of the Navy aligned on the side of the Miguelite forces. On the opposite side, however, the Liberals created a battalion of the Navy. In 1832, the Liberal Battalion of the Navy was augmented and transformed in a regiment with 4 battalions. In 1836, already after the end of the Civil War, the Royal Brigade of the Navy was extinguished. It was replaced by the new Naval Battalion created in 1837. In each of the ship's crews of the Portuguese Navy, only the officers and the members of the embarked detachments of the Naval Battalion were military personnel, with the sailors being civilians. The different status of the several parts of the crews always created issues. In 1851, the decision was taken to militarize the sailors, with the creation of the Corps of Military Seamen. This corps started to be responsible for the providing of the ship's crews. It was organized in 22 crew companies, each one subdivided in 2 half companies, plus a depot company. Each of these companies and half companies was intended to constitute the crew of a ship in rotation. All seamen of the Corps received a general training that included seamanship, artillery, infantry, bladed weapon combat, boarding and amphibious landing. In each company, a number of seamen received an advanced training in naval artillery, constituting its squad or artillerymen. This military training meant that the seamen were able to assume the responsibility to perform also the role of naval infantry when needed, what made unnecessary the existence of the Naval Battalion, which was then dissolved. For this date, whenever there was a need to perform an amphibious operation, landing detachments were constituted with seamen taken from the ship's crews. For the colonial campaigns of the late 19th and early 20th centuries and for the World War I, Larger naval infantry forces and naval battalions were organized in the Corps of Seamen itself. In 1924, a permanent unit of naval infantry was again created, this being the new Brigade of the Naval Guard. However, it ceased to exist in 1934, with the role of naval infantry being again entirely assumed by the regular seamen when needed. The naval infantry only reappeared as permanent force in 1961, with the beginning of the Colonial War. Besides the Marines School, two types of operational Marine units were created at the time, these being the detachments of Special Marines and the companies of Marines, while the DFE were designed to operate as amphibious assault units. The CF were focused in the naval patrolling and in the defense of naval ships and facilities. During this war and up to 1975, more than 14,000 Marines fought in Portuguese Guinea, Angola and Mozambique. Until 1975, a unified Marine Corps command did not exist, with the diverse DFE and CF being separate units, depending from the several naval and maritime defense commands of the areas where they operated. In this year, the Marine Corps was created, unifying all Marine units under a single command organization. Since 2015, the Portuguese Marine Corps includes Marines Corps Command, Marines Corps Support Departments, Marines School Training Unit, 1st Marine Battalion, Force Protection Unit, includes Naval Police Unit, Landing Means Unit, Boarding Platoon, 2nd Marine Battalion, Force Projection Unit, includes 3 permanent Marine forces, 1st Marine Task Unit, 2nd Marine Task Unit, 3rd Marine Task Unit, Special Actions Detachment. Special Operations Unit constitutes a Special Operations Maritime Task Group, with 3 Special Operations Task Units. The permanent task units of the BF2 are designed to conduct raids and other small-scale amphibious operations. To conduct larger-scale amphibious operations, the Marine Corps can organize a temporary battalion landing team based on the BF2, reinforced with additional means from the other Marine units and from the General Support Department of the Marines Corps. The Marine Corps elements are based in the Vale d'Ezebro facilities and the Alfite facilities. Training. Initial training to become an enlisted fusiliero lasts about 42 weeks. The training is conducted at the Marines School in Vale d'Ezebro. It is physically and mentally rigorous and demanding, with only 15% to 35% of the initial trainees passing and becoming fusileros. The recruits in training are constantly under stress and pressure from instructors, leaving them no respite. All activities are timed and scored. Marching several tens of kilometers with equipment and weapon obstacle course. Navigation at night on the ground. The training is punctuated by firearms training and special combat techniques, rappelling and climbing, boating, basic demolitions, and hand-to-hand combat. The course culminates in a 60 km group march which must be completed in a set time. After completing the training with success, the fusileros receive a dark blue beret and are assigned to operational units. Equipment. Light weapons, Glock 17 9mm pistol, SIG P226 9mm pistol, MP5 9mm submachine gun, Uzi 9mm submachine gun, MPK 9mm submachine gun, G3 7.62mm assault rifle, G36 5.56mm assault rifle, HK 417 7.62mm assault rifle and sniper variant, M4 carbine and M203 40mm grenade launcher, Remington 870 12-gauge shotgun, Mossberg 590 12-gauge shotgun, Bonelli M3 12-gauge shotgun, Benelli M4 12-gauge shotgun, Spars 15 12-gauge shotgun, PSG-1 7.62 mm sniper rifle, MSG 97.62 mm sniper rifle, AWSM 338 LM sniper rifle, or 7.62 mm sniper rifle, AW-50 12.7 mm sniper rifle, HK-21E 7.62 mm general-purpose machine gun, MG-3 7.62 mm general-purpose machine gun, MG-4 5.56 mm light machine gun, and more. Mortars, 120 mm heavy mortar, 81 mm medium mortar, 60 mm fast mortar, anti-tank, anti-aircraft weapons, Carl Gustav recoilless rifle, Milan ATGW-92 Finnish Marcus Stinger, amphibians, LDM 100 class landing craft, LDM 400 class landing craft, Zebra class inflatable boat. Vehicles: Land Rover Lightweight, Land Rover Defender, Toyota Land Cruiser, Unimog, LARC5, Chamite, VBR Panjura 2.